What are some things from the 80s and 90s that you wished would make a comeback? Colorful clothing and accessories. Not the over-the-top neon stuff so much, but it seems like everything these days is gray, beige, black, and dull, neutral colors. Also, prints are super subtle and uninteresting. Bring back bright colors, funky prints, and embellished embroidered, jeweled, sequined, etc. clothing. I'm not against neutral colors, but I hate that it seems to be 95% of what's available. I've been looking for a new purse for over a year, and I can't find anything that isn't dead plain and either white, black, or brown. I just want some fun stuff to wear again. Records, tapes, wingback hair, cigarettes, watching TV after school, alone parents at work, common sense. Seriously, more of us had a common frame of reference because you just didn't have the internet and so much variety in Newark, Springfield, Foreigner or Michael Jackson, BC. That's all there really was, and you got it via radio first, and then bought a record or tape, and later CD. Also, yes, I said cigarettes. Downvote if you must, but it was fun to smoke and not worry about consequences. I miss it. Before CDs and then CD writers came along, we had a format called DAT, digital audio tape. It's pretty much obsolete now, but in the early 90s it was better than even the chrome metal bias audio cassette. The DAT tape on some recorder can give you up to 4 hours recording time. But it was usually only 2 hours. Do you know if I had DAT tapes if I invested in them? I would have recorded a lot of the local college stations. Their shows were one of a kind, and the DJs, you will never hear the likes of them anymore. Sound. I used to hear people talking and playing music out at the beach or the park or in the streets, but now too many are plugged into their own private earbud soundtrack, and these places seem weirdly quiet to me. I teach high school and even my classes are unnaturally quiet. The kids barely talk to each other. Just sit at a desk with hidden earbuds silently scrolling on their phones. I can't remember the last time I had to wait for a class to settle down and be quiet. Being ignored looks different now. New fantastic adventure movies that feel like The Labyrinth and The Never-Ending Story. Hollywood gets things wrong when it constantly reboots old properties. We don't want the same stories retold. We just want new ones that have that same feeling. This is exactly why Stranger Things is so successful. It pays homage to so many 80s movies like E.T., Poltergeist and Nightmare on Elm Street, and it's not just a shallow nod, it's a real love letter to those settings and that style of storytelling. Seeing the mall of my youth at its best. It appeared to have everything: KB Toys, a hip Radio Shack, a puzzle shop, a chocolate shop, 2 bookstores, an arcade, etc. It is now only a shell of what it once was. There are still some glimmers of life, but it is passing away slowly and painfully. One of its anchor stores is on life support, while the other 3/5 are gone. The owner's constant rent increases to cover the costs of the vacant storefronts are a contributing factor in the issue. Human interaction. It seems so easy to meet people and make real friends. My wife and I met through social channels back then, and we have lots of lasting mutual friendships. Now I hear Redditors complain how rough it is to meet people online, especially a future spouse. It seems like social networks and dating sites benefit the corporations more than the users. This wasn't a thing back then. Rent housing being offensively cheap unless you were on a very limited income, and even then you could find places that you could squeak by if you were able to work even close to full time. And if you earned in the lowest 5 to 10 of income brackets and you had money, sense and discipline, you could buy at least a small condo or similar. The aesthetics of the era. For example, I love 80s and 90s movies, especially the grainy cold image quality. Nowadays, most movies use different hues and sharp high-definition cameras. You can tell a 90s movie from an early 2000s movie and a 2010 present movie by the way it looks. Rush hour being 1 hour. In my city now, if I am not on the road for 5:30 AM, then my 8-mile journey takes 1 hour instead of 13 minutes. There is a 1-hour window between 10 AM and 11 AM where it gets mildly less shitty, but basically if the sun is up, roads are jammed. 1. Heavy metal guitar music as mainstream. 2. Gangsta type rap and not this mumble rap bullshit. 3. Hairy pussies. 4. Movies dropping trailers a few weeks before premieres so that you were truly surprised and didn't know anything about the movie 2-3 years in advance. Technological silence. Growing up in the 80s was great because there was enough tech to keep me entertained. Video games, VHS, but it was easy enough to disconnect from. Going outside and not being tethered to the internet is a lot harder to do today. God, I miss smoking. I miss being able to smoke everywhere. It was fucking great. I mean, I'm glad I quit, and that we can't smoke everywhere any longer. But since you can get cancer from playing Let's Pretend, that's my answer: Reddit. Playing outside and having fun. We used to hang out until it got dark and then go home. We actually played jump rope, hopscotch, Foursquare, Red Rover, hide and seek, dodgeball. We interacted with people and learned social skills. Buying physical media for your music, movies, and TV shows. While it's great that just about everything is available whenever you want via streaming, there was something fun about browsing stores to see what's new, what's on sale. The human contact, where you actually had to look an MFR in the face and communicate instead of looking like a zombie with a tracking device glued to your MFR hand. The music, the whole energy and all that. There was much more in-person interaction with friends. Now because of cell phones, social media, people will just do that to keep in touch and then sit alone at home, causing a sense of isolation and depression. Generalized Lord attitude. The world wasn't filled with self-righteous Karens who are convinced they're winning some kind of morality Olympics by pretending to be offended by everything under the sun. Puppetry cinema, world-building fantasy movies. Think The Never-Ending Story. I think CGI is great, but man, when you rewatch these old films, it's amazing to think they did that with no computers. Manners. Just because you don't agree with someone's beliefs, ideals or opinions is no reason to get in their face about it. Can't we all agree to disagree? No need to go to civil war over it. Buying power among the non-wealthy. The attainable dream of buying a home. Cars that you expect to last 20 years and appliances that you never really thought you would have to replace. That outside of 30 minutes of the nightly news, if you watched, the real world was only what was happening on your side of town. Didn't have everyone's problems beamed into your hands. No cell phones. I know I'm on a cell phone right now. I miss not being connected all the time. You would leave the house and nobody knew or needed to know what you were doing. The price of food. The lack of phones. The thrill of running into friends. The lack of political fighting and power trips within everything I read. All of it. A better sense of society, thinking how your actions impact others. Less reliance on technology and the expectation from work and friends to reply instantly. Fridges, ovens, washing machines, dishwashers, etc. that would last more than a few years without needing repairs. I will be happy with items built 20 years ago. Stuff needs to change and I am looking back with nostalgic glasses. But I love that the internet wasn't seeped in all aspects of life. Especially social media. The lack of internet being in every aspect of our lives so that people can stop being clout-driven morons who believe everything they see read on the internet. Hand-drawn cartoons. Kids playing and being kids, not scheduled every hour of the day. College radio. I had a radio show and it rocked. My metabolism, lol. British Rail. Nationalized utilities. Lucky, gas, telephones, the Royal Mail in general. Yes, they had their flaws, but they weren't an absolute rip-off. Playing with frogs in the forest and being able to pick berries on the side of the road. Kids hanging out at the mall. Kids hanging out at book buses. All the neighborhood kids playing outside until the lights came on. The president being impeached for a blowjob instead of a coup. Tolerance of others. The ability to separate the argument from the individual and the wisdom to disregard what doesn't apply to or affect you. Physical music CDs. Something about actually having a physical copy just made it feel more real as you're walking around with your Discman. Better quality clothing. Real leather jackets and boots that will last you a lifetime. Raw denim jeans instead of that stretched denim stuff. Arcades, malls, movie theaters. And how about fun movies just for the heck of it? Everything is either a superhero anthology or a woke fest. Proper bipartisan politics in the US. Everyone has to compromise at some point. This all-or-nothing approach is making the country hurt. The lack of the internet and cell phones. Decent snowfall in the winter. Summers where air conditioning was an unnecessary luxury. The human slime that came with the prison. I left mine out in the rain and it was ruined. I only got to drench Skeletor in it once. Blockbuster, old school Pizza Hut. Talking on the phone, waiting a whole week to see the next episode of your favorite show. Cartoon Network. I miss Donald Duck and Tom Jerry and Scooby-Doo and DuckTales and so many more. Yeah, having a phone that worked in a power outage. Didn't need to be charged, didn't need Wi-Fi, it just always worked. Punching Nazis. Taco Bell fire pits and homemade sauces. Oh wait, that was 70s. How about Noggles Nearby, Combo Burrito Bro. Good movies if that makes sense. Everything now has to be a blockbuster guaranteed or it doesn't get produced. First thing that comes to mind is Nickelodeon Gak and Floam, but after some thought it's probably a bad idea. Cocktail wieners. Not cocktail sausages, the cocktail hot dogs. I haven't been able to find them in years. As crushed as I am with this loss, I take a step back and think of what it would be like to be a Jets fan. CRT TVs for video gaming and watching old VHS movies lol. Otherwise if it's in 4K I want to see it in 4K. For purely selfish reasons I think this is 80s and 90s but permed mullets like the really nice ones. The ability to laugh at things that are genuinely funny and un-PC without people getting offended. Everyone yearns for the old times to come back, but nobody wants to put their smartphones down. Gas prices. I remember I used to pay $20 for a full tank, now it's almost $30 for full tank. Much music videos. Independent small movie theaters. Saturday morning, America's middle class being able to afford housing with one no, the basics. The prices for everyday items. Not interesting in paying like $5,000 for a VCR though. Are you afraid of the dark version 2023? 1 cent candy. Landline only. 50 cent a gallon gas. No cell phones. No social media. Shorter stores opening times. No EU closed borders. 80s style crossover thrash. That shit is still fun as hell to drive to. I need more. Fuck it, let's see if we can break the highest ever interest rates. Come on 20 baby. We TV channels I can record with my VCR. PVRs are shit and you can't output anything. Putting $5 of gas in the car and watching the needle go from me to past A1 4 tank. Video games where you've hopped in the software and played without endless downloads.